nobody cares if you're gay. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, nobody cares. Like, hey, I don't care. There was I thought I'd point this out. This is two headlines of the same story. This is from IGN, first and foremost. It says, nonprofit LGBTQ advocacy group GLAAD has released its first ever report on LGBTQ inclusion in video games, revealing that 17% of gamers are LGBTQ. Okay. By the way, not very inclusive in this sliding because they left out the plus. Just like to point that out. Not very inclusive at all. And same article, same story. This is from Kotaku. New reports suggest the game industry is failing LGBTQ players, right? So same article, two very different approaches to this, which obviously need to be very transparent. 17% of gamers are LGBTQ, up from 10% in 2020. So in the last, yes, Blabs.
How many of these votes are actually accurate, where they're actually gay and not trying to just align for like virtue signaling?
These are great questions. I don't know. I don't know. These are wonderful questions to ask. So much so that I've actually reached out to GLAAD about this survey that they put together. But this is interesting. So in the last 4 years, LGBTQ has gone up 7%, right? And this is obviously a very biased survey, right? It goes back to, and the questions I asked to them were, who did you survey? Mm-hmm. What were these specific questions? Were they done in person? Like these are important. There's a lot of context when it comes to these surveys. I've talked about data many times when it comes to these surveys. You can get whatever data you want from however you ask questions. Mm-hmm. And let's go ahead and read some of this, just to kind of get a little more detail here. The report in the first of its kind from GLAAD and was done in partnership with Nielsen Games. The data was collected from a survey of 1,452 active PC and console gamers in the United States between July and August of 2023. So that's even less time. So that's like in about 40 months, 3.5 years, went from 10% to 17%, right? And that may be because we're adding letters to to all this and all that fun stuff. But per the report, 70% of gamers are LGBTQ, up from 10% from 2020.
Look at that one sentence right there. With a boosted sample. First paragraph up in there. With a boosted sample.
What the hell is a boosted sample of gay people?
Meaning they probably went into an area in which more...
So they went to like LA or something.
Or San Francisco, or
Yeah.
So the survey says there's a lot of stuff in here, obviously, but it says the survey found that the Switch eShop has the lowest percentage of games with LGBTQ characters or storylines. Microsoft has 146 games available on the Xbox store with LGBTQ content at the time of the survey. PlayStation had 90, Nintendo had 50. So this was interesting. Steam had 2,302 LGBTQ games in English, but that number dropped to 1,506 when adult-only sexual content tag was filtered out. So 35% of the games, once you took out the adult-only sexual content tag, were removed. 35% of them. What the fuck? That's insane. That is insane to me, and says a lot. If I'm being totally honest, that's crazy. My biggest question here is when you're dealing. It says 17% of gamers are LGBTQ. That says 83% are not.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you just disregarding Like, you're trying to be as super inclusive. Awesome. Great. But 83% to 17% is not even close. Not even like remotely close. Like, our demographic here on the channel, right? Sorry, ladies, right? Let's just say we had 17% of our audience was women. This show would not be suited for women. Like, dudes watch our show. We get it, right? We're not going to go bend over backwards to make our show built for a female audience because we see the data attached to this. I don't understand. And as Just Jim says, 17% of a sample size of 1,500 gamers in California. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point. That's what I was saying, the boosted thing. Because it's where are they pulling the numbers from? You know? And on top of that, I mean, yeah, sure. There are plenty of people who play video games out there who are part of the alphabet community. Fine. Like, they're welcome to play video games as much as any of us are, right? There's no problem with them playing video games. A lot of them love to play video games. You know, are they going to complain because Tetris is just about blocks falling and doing whatever, or racing games are just about racing, and Mario is just about jumping on Goombas? Like,
there'll be an innuendo soon. They'll make one up.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, I mean, what in Japan isn't Birdo?
Right.
So there, you know, it's like games are just going to be what they are. They're going to be making video games for everybody. You make games for general audiences, and it doesn't matter. I think what was the old saying? What was the thing from the Michael Jordan movie where they were talking about the Air Jordans? Well, lots of people wear sneakers. Everybody wears sneakers.
Right.
Right. Everybody, like, a lot of people like to play video games.
Right.
They come from all different types of communities. So,
and like, to be clear, nobody cares if you're gay. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, nobody cares. Like, fucking A, I don't care. It's way more than 17% of the agenda being pushed, right?
You're right.
Which is...
And they're not even like making games for the target audience anymore. They're not making games for the 80-something% anymore. And if you pay attention, indie games are on the rise because they're not doing all this shit. They're not putting all these agendas and little narratives. They just want a simple, fun game to play. And so now all these AAA games, and I'm sorry, quadruple A, because now we have that too. These games are not really on the rise anymore. People are like, all you're doing is putting agendas. I just want to play a game and escape and, like, have fun. I don't care if my main character is a lesbian, black, deaf woman who doesn't like Miles Morales. Like, you know? Make games for the target audience, and you will be very successful and efficient, and you'll make a shit ton of money. It's that simple.
If it's a, if it's an RPG, is the RPG elements, good and intuitive and exciting and what have you? Does it make the gameplay itself? Because when we're playing video games because we want to play the gameplay. You know,
what's interesting is we've heard that Sweet Baby Inc., they're the company who's putting a lot of this, the DEI stuff into video games. And they've said many, many times, we've talked about them saying in particular, there's a myth of this core gamer. This core gamer is like a myth, and the idea that it's like traditionally a white dude, right? They say that's a myth. No, the data literally backs it up, right? Yeah. These are generally the people who are buying these games are just regular people that don't care about this stuff, right? Yep. So why do we need to feel the need to put all this stuff in? I'm digging into this a little bit more as we're talking here, and this is from the GLAAD.org website. It says the scale of and growth of the LGBTQ gamer is significant. Notably, the percentage of LGBTQ gamers is even higher amongst younger age groups, with 23 to 28% of gamers under 35 identifying as LGBTQ. The percentage of LGBTQ people in gaming far surpasses that of the general population, according to Gallup's 2022 survey. Although Gallup only surveyed respondents over the age of 18. Our survey sample was people 13 to 55 years old. They conservatively estimate that 7.2% of American adults are not cisgender, slur, or heterosexual. Similarly, Gallup's most recent data indicate that Gen Z adults had the highest percentage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender respondents over 18 at 20%. So they're saying, so look, this goes back to 28%, 23 to, and by the way, 5% is a very big range here. Between 23 and 28% under the age of 35 saying that they are LGBTQ. I was at an event 2 weeks ago at MegaCon. One out of four were not LGBTQ. I was at an event a month ago in Waco, Texas. 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4 was not LGBTQ, right? You see this stuff, and it's totally skewed. This is not. There's no way this is real life. This is propaganda skewed. And then what happened is this propaganda is put out to these. To EA, to Activision, to video game companies, and they say, "Look, here's your audience," and it's a fucking it's a farce. Like it's not true. Anybody who has been to these conventions, anybody who has been in the gaming space knows this is not accurate. I don't know of a place where outside of like a gay bar where 1 out of 5 people, 1 out of 4 people is LGBTQ. Like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Nobody cares if you think you're a boy or a girl or a goat. You may be fucking weird, which you are, and you probably have some mental issues, which you probably do, but nobody cares. You're all, you want to play games, you want to go to, awesome, fucking A, that's great. The problem is that when you start bending the knee and saying, yeah, well, we're going to create for this for, why do you think the numbers rose from 10 to 17% over 4 years? Why? Because people were lonely. They're locked in their room. They're looking for acceptance. They're looking for something, a group to join. And when they have an opportunity to be joined, when they have an opportunity to join something, people say, "Oh, you're welcome here." It's like it's just blatant propaganda, and it's propaganda that will be literally implemented into all of your games and all of your entertainment because of stuff like this. Cater to the 83% that are buying your games that don't necessarily want this stuff.